If Nintendo has Mario and Sega has Sonic, then who was Atari's mascot? Every gaming platform at least attempted a mascot. TurboGrafx utilized Bonk a lot. The PlayStation initially pushed Crash Bandicoot as a sort of edgy mascot, and the Xbox tried their hand with, I don't know, Master Chief? Okay, well, most consoles and companies have had various mascots over the years, but Atari seemed to be the exception. Except, recently there has been a sort of mascot dubbed for the company, and even delving into its past, it seems like this character has always been there. So who is this unknown magical mascot? Well, it was in the title of the video. I mean, come on, you should know. It's Bentley Bear. But what makes a mascot, and why has Bentley Bear become the de facto Atari standard bear? Let's dive in a little and find out. I think some people have honestly chosen Bentley Bear as the Atari mascot by default. During the beginning of the 1980s, Atari had a lot of games under its belt, but not a lot of memorable characters. Think about it. Asteroids had a ship and some space rocks. Centipede, in its earliest inception, had the Centipede and a bunch of other bugs. Missile Command had no real characters to speak of, and so on. Most people imagined Pac-Man to probably be the Atari mascot, but as we all know, Pac-Man is and always was a property of Namco. I heard some people say that the square from Adventure would have made a cool representative for the company, but come on people, it's a square. It was never going to compete with Mario and Sonic, so for all intents and purposes, Bentley Bear was Atari's earliest, likable character. And it's a good character. The design, even in the very beginning, was warm and friendly. It's recognizable as a bear, but has enough distinct elements to be recognizable in a lineup of characters. So when Crystal Castles hit the arcade in 1983, they had a winner on their hands. But it was early in video gaming's history, and while Atari seemed to understand how to make simple addictive games, they didn't have the foresight that Nintendo did in introducing memorable and iconic characters. It's something that Atari has always struggled with, and is attempting to correct today, but it's an uphill battle to be sure. So while the Crystal Castles protagonist was used in marketing materials for the game, he seemed to be contained mostly to that property for a while. They had an opportunity to push Bentley more for the 2600 release, but again, they didn't seem very interested. But he would be utilized in some different ways in the late 1980s. By this time, Atari Inc. was now Atari Corp, and firmly under the control of the Tramiel family, and they were releasing a line of educational software on their Atari ST computers. They needed a cute, friendly character to help educate people, and Bentley Bear was something they already had access to, and fit the bill nicely. So he was featured in quite a few educational titles for Atari. This included things like Bentley Bear's Alphabet Tutor, Bentley Bear's Magical Math, Bentley Bear's Spelling Bee, and Typing Tutor, just to name a few. And while I've never experienced any of these firsthand, well, he looks pretty good teaching children, doesn't he? And I'm sure that there are kids who had become accustomed to and used to our friendly little bear and his educational endeavors. This was a step in the right direction for making Bentley a well-known mascot, but not nearly enough. He desperately needed a platformer, but he wouldn't get one, at least not for a while. He did, however, make an appearance in a kart racing game in the mid-90s, and that's something that many mascots have done and would do in the future. Bentley Bear was probably the biggest name in Atari Karts. Atari Karts was Atari Corp's answer to Mario Kart, and it wasn't all that bad, honestly. It did have some flaws, not present in the Red Plumbers racing game, but it also had gorgeous colors and full-screen visuals. Not a bad game. Too bad Bentley was the only recognizable character in a sea of jobbers. Being seen with such losers probably didn't help to elevate him any. And again, he desperately needed a fun platforming game. And he would get one. In the mid-2010s. on a console that was well past its retail life, and underperformed during that retail life. But regardless, our hero Bentley got his game in Bentley Bear's Crystal Quest. It was an original platforming game with elements of Adventure Island and the early Wonder Boy games. He would have to venture through 6 worlds and over 40 levels to collect his beloved gems and defeat the evil witch, Berthilda. It was programmed by the great and powerful Robert DeCrescenzo, and the game was an impressive and fun feat for programming on the console. It even had the secrets and hidden levels that would feel very much at home with Mario games. It might have been 30 years too late, but our friend got his signature platformer, and finally felt like a true mascot. So Bentley Bear had a mascot kart racer, his own line of educational kids games, and a platformer. Bentley Bear was a bona fide mascot, even if it was unofficial for Atari. But what's this? Bentley is now being featured more and more by today's iteration of Atari. Not only did his platformer receive a port to the Atari VCS, but he was also prominently featured in Atari Mania. You don't play as Bentley, as the role of the player character went to somebody known as the Caretaker, but Bentley was smack dab in the middle of a mystery regarding dead pixels and crazy Atari game mashups. And now, in the new Food Fight Culinary Combat game, he has his own video arcade full of all the memorable Atari characters. Wait, didn't we start the video out by saying that Atari was lacking characters? Well, yeah, it is, but the new iteration of Atari is trying to rectify that. And it really all started with Atari Mania. They tried to give their characters from Outlaw, Sword Quest, Demon to Diamonds, and Haunted House names and personalities. And this continues into their newer games, like Food Fight Culinary Combat. But it feels a little bit, I don't know, I guess it's a little bit forced and 40 years too late. But I hope they keep trying, because I do want to love these characters. I just don't think they figured out how to make it work, or if it even can work. But Bentley Bear is present in almost all of these situations now, and he feels like the only character that really makes sense, even if they tend to make his personality a little unlikable. I mean, come on, this is your mascot, Atari, and like it or not, you need to let us love him. But with all that said, is Bentley Bear really Atari's mascot? Unofficially, yes. But I don't know if Atari will ever outright say that Bentley Bear represents them. There's little reason to do so today, unless they really want to push him into the future. Bentley does have a recognizable design, and I think he is by far the most recognizable Atari character. So much so that he made an appearance in Wreck-It Ralph, alongside a bunch of other video game characters. And that's pretty cool if you ask me. I don't know what the future holds for Bentley Bear, if anything, but I hope he does continue to get utilized. Even if it's unofficial, he is still our beloved mascot after all. And I, for one, am pro Bentley Bear moving into Atari's future. But now I want to hear from all of you. Do you like Bentley Bear? Or is he a poor excuse of a gaming mascot? Have you played any of his games? Like Crystal Castles or the educational stuff? And if so, do you enjoy what he's appeared in? And do you think he has a future with today's Atari? Let me know the answers to all this and more in the comments down below. And please, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We put out 2 more every single week. Also, be sure to check out our merch store if you want to support the channel. And check out our Patreon if you really want to throw me some support. Patreons help the Atari Network upgrade equipment and get games and things to cover on the channel. Plus, I use their support to do occasional giveaways. In exchange, they get behind-the-scenes content and shoutouts at the end of every video. So thank you to Mr. Shua TV, Fens the Spook, Socrates63, Ball Gobbler, Jolt 7800, Head Trauma Bob, OG Hugo, and my own Celestial. You guys rock. And with all that said, I think it's time we wrap things up. So I'm the 7800 Pro Gamer, and I want to thank you all for listening to me ramble about Bentley Bear for a little while. And remember to stay classy, Atarians.